Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to jump right into this one. It's just a burning thought in my mind, and I just want to kind of talk to you guys, get my thoughts out, and maybe get some thoughts in return from you guys in the comments. But basically, video games to me right now are so unbelievably stale. The only game that I actually enjoy playing, and most of the time with friends, is Call of Duty Warzone. That's just the game that I've been enjoying, but I really want to just talk about how games in general are so stale and just not fun anymore. And this isn't to be negative, I just simply think there's a lot of games out there right now that were just underproduced, lacked innovation, and just a few games off the top of my head are going to be talking about NBA 2K, and then also the Cyberpunk situation, maybe some of the Madden games, just sports games in general, to be honest. But, I really do focus on my main channel, 2K. And most of you guys know this from my main channel as well, but yeah, I really haven't been enjoying the newest NBA 2K game, 2K21, and just kind of want to just talk about all these different things. So I guess, since I already said 2K, let's talk about NBA 2K first. 2K has just been a dry game. The gameplay has just lacked innovation. It doesn't have skill gap. It's almost like you just hold turbo to run past the defender and then dunk the ball, or shoot a fading three. It's just not a fun game anymore. Back when 15, 16, 17 were out, you actually had to play decent defense and you can actually stop your opponent from getting past you. The dribble moves on the offensive side were a lot more, I guess, it just took skill to do them. There was a variety in terms of dribble moves, and it's just over time the games have just, I guess, for the 2K franchise, lacked that gameplay mechanic, lacked defense, have been lacking in terms of innovation with physics. They've been using the same engine for God knows how long now. I think it's been 8 years. And it's just not a fun game to me. And, for those of you that, are playing 2K or have played 2K, and especially the next generation version, which is a little bit different than the current generation version, I want to know your thoughts about that game in particular, but I don't really want to dwell on it too much since I've already talked about it on my main channel. Now I want to talk about the Cyberpunk situation. So I actually got Cyberpunk 2077. I pre-ordered it because, CD Projekt Red, they've made some really good games in the past. The Witcher 3, and that's the main one that I think really put them on a pedestal when it came to actual innovation and just gameplay in general. It was a really great game, really great story. Didn't have as many bugs as Cyberpunk, and don't get me wrong, I was expecting bugs to exist in an open world game like Cyberpunk. But when this game launched, first off, it had a bunch of delays, right? It had 4 or 5 delays. And then because, shareholders were expecting the game to release in Q4 of 2020, Cyberpunk decided to release. And then in turn, the share and stock just dropped tremendously because the game was literally unplayable on even the next gen consoles. I think the game for me crashed 3 or 4 times on my PlayStation 5. I don't know if some people have had the same issue, maybe you haven't, but the game also in terms of graphics doesn't hold up to what they had in their trailers. Even the developers over at CD Projekt Red actually flat out said that the demos and trailers and stuff were on a high-end, thousands of dollars worth of a gaming PC, and they tried to max out the settings to appeal to the people that weren't gonna pre-order this game, that were gonna buy this game. So it was almost like they got, the audience got finessed, and the CD Projekt Red developer basically was finessing their audience, because not only is the game just unplayable and crashes even on next gen consoles, but the current gen consoles, the graphics are horrendous. It almost looks like a PlayStation 2 game at times because the characters don't render, meaning that there's skins and just graphics that actually will render and make the person or avatar or item, whatever it is, more clear and more HD and have details on it. But because of the hardware that the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 have, the game just can't hold up and it can't render the graphics properly. So it almost looks like a PS2 game on the previous gen consoles, and it's just very unfortunate because it's a combination of, the shareholders basically wanting the game to release. The developers didn't have enough time to really get in the weeds and really optimize this game to be really good. and they just were forced to send it out in the current state that it was in. And if it was unplayable at this point, you damn well know the reason they delayed the game like 3 times over the past like year and a half is because the game was definitely not ready. And it even was not ready when, you know, they decided to release it in Q4 of 2020. So, I mean, it's very unfortunate, and that's just another common trait that a lot of these AAA developer companies are doing now. They're just launching games out and just sending them off to the audience without really polishing it, without making it a true final product. And now, you know, the developers are saying, sorry, we're going to optimize the game and make it better over time. But if I bought a game, I expect it to be good, and I expect it to not be as buggy as Cyberpunk 2077 is right now. Now, I've had some good experiences with the game, but you know, if it crashes when I'm in a mission, all of my saved progress just like doesn't save. Like it just does not. So I have to restart it, and I just like got turned off by that aspect alone. Not to mention that the game stutters a lot of the time. It's just not built for consoles right now, and they need to optimize it, meaning they need to update certain files to, you know, make it more compact, make the game faster and just more playable with the current hardware. And don't get me wrong, like I understand it's an open world game and stuff, but if I'm paying for a game and it launches on a next-gen console, the consoles that can play games like Spider-Man and have like ray tracing and stuff like that, then I expect Cyberpunk to be able to at least play smoothly, and it simply does not. So like I said, I hope they can optimize that game in the future. I kind of want to just talk about sports games in general too, because this has been something that's been on my mind for a few years now, to be honest. Games like Madden, games like 2K, unfortunately EA does not even have a basketball game out right now, but even NBA Live wasn't all that great when it was out. Just the sports games that I've been playing are just copy and paste. There's really no innovation, there's no new engine. The characters and stuff, the avatars, like in certain situations, they just don't, like, I guess work properly, like they'll be glitchy. And in sports games across the board, the only thing that really changes from year to year are the roster updates, right? Some things do change with 2K, like they're trying to like make a city instead of like a small little neighborhood. I don't really care about that. I want the gameplay to be good, and unfortunately for most sports games, it's been the same engine time and time again with just new rosters. And sports games, just for me, have been stale because of that aspect alone, right? So now, you know, we talked about 2K a little bit. We talked about Cyberpunk, you know, and how it launched terribly, and that seems to be a trend with all AAA developers. They're just sending games out to people that, you know, it's not a finished product, and then they try to optimize it throughout the year to make it a finished product, but that's just not how it should be. And then sports games, you know, they're all just copy and paste, essentially. Now, I do want to talk about Call of Duty because, obviously I mentioned in the beginning of the video that I really enjoy playing Warzone with friends. And I think it's not because like Call of Duty's been using the same engine, because they have been, right? But it's a new idea that integrates the same engine and has like just different scenarios happening all the time, right? Like you never have a loot box in the same area. You're constantly trying to be strategic with your team, or maybe you're playing solos. That game has been a lot of fun to me. And I think it's because, Call of Duty Warzone, when it did launch, it was basically in its final product stage. Like there was no ridiculous glitch out the gate that was breaking the game and killing the hype, because you damn well know if that did happen, people wouldn't be playing Warzone as much. You got to keep your audience hooked on the first like 7 to 14 days of anything releasing, whether it's a Warzone type of battle royale experience or a sports game or an open world game. Like you have to make sure that it's finished. And, Warzone did that pretty well. Obviously, there's been glitches down the road, the Juggernaut glitch, the invisibility glitch. Like, there's been glitches, don't get me wrong, right? But, they've been patched, and pretty quickly at that, in retrospect to all the other games that are out there that are just ceasing to patch certain bugs or just delaying the patches to fix those certain things in other video games. So, I mean, I did want to just hit on Warzone. In terms of just gaming in general, though, I feel like video games have just been stale because of the things that I mentioned before, the whole Warzone thing, right? Because Warzone's the game that I actually do enjoy right now. And I think it's a combination of a variety of different things. There's a lack of competition in certain categories, right? Like you got Call of Duty, you got Battlefield and first-person shooter games, and there's really no competitor there, right? Sports games, there's a lot of lack of competition because these leagues like the NFL and the NBA, they basically sell their IP and their players' likeness to certain companies. And 2K right now has a license for the NBA. I think 2K is also getting a license for the NFL, but it's not going to be a Madden type game. It's going to be like a 3v3 type of game. I don't really know yet. But because of that, because of the IP and like the exclusivity, these AAA developers can basically do whatever they want, and people are going to buy the game because it's a sports game, right? It's 2K is the only sports basketball game out there right now. And Madden's been the same thing. Madden's been very repetitive with their physics engine. I think even this new Madden apparently is one of the worst of all time because it's literally a copy and paste of Madden 20 and 19, and there was no innovation when it came to the next gen consoles. So yeah, man, there's like just a lack of competition. There are games just being sent out to please the shareholders so that, they can get their Q3 or Q4 earnings in check. And then the game becomes an unfinished product, and then people and the developers just either don't care or they patch things down the road. And not even to mention the whole microtransaction thing, right? Like microtransactions are very, very annoying because a lot of these games that I've mentioned, like you need microtransactions in order to like be competitive online, or you need a microtransaction, you need to buy like an additional thing on top of a $60 game in order to, just enjoy the full potential of what the game has to offer. And it just shouldn't be that way, man. Like if I pay $60 to $70 plus with, tax and everything like that, I should be able to enjoy a game. And Warzone is free. So I'm literally enjoying this game. It's free. I'm having a good time playing it. There's a new scenario every single time, even though they've been using the same engine. Like the idea itself has been great, and they've integrated new guns as the Call of Duty Black Ops game came out. So they're adding things in, they're changing things up, they're adding new maps with Resurgence and things like that. It's just an enjoyable experience for me, man. Like I'm not some Warzone sellout. I got like not even 7,000 subscribers on this channel. I'll probably get like 100 views on this video. Like I'm not some sellout. I just enjoy this game. It's just like something that I wanted to just talk to you guys about and just talk about the current state of gaming. I really don't like other video games because of all the things that I mentioned. And right now, like it's also kind of boring because Warzone's the only game I enjoy. What if I don't want to play Warzone, right? Like what if I'm just sick of playing Warzone for the couple hours? Do I just turn off my controller? Like, I mean, that's basically what I've been doing for the past couple months, man. Like there hasn't been an enjoyable game other than Warzone for me. And Warzone can get boring. So I definitely want to know your comments. I want to know your thoughts about like gaming and in general. I think gaming as a whole has just been very stale and dry lately. A lot of people say this on Twitter and things like that as well. Like they're just tired of video games, and I can understand why, because a lot of games that came out recently are just not fun and they require a lot of money to even enjoy. And even then, the gameplay in a lot of these certain AAA titles, they're just not fun. Like it doesn't have like any skill required. It's like pay to win. So Warzone's been fun. I've been enjoying it. I've been having a good time, but I definitely want to know what you guys have to say in terms of, do you play another video game, and if so, what it is? What other games have you been enjoying recently? I just want to know your thoughts about that. If you did enjoy this video, I know it was kind of like a ramble on type of thing, but I just wanted to kind of vent to you guys, and I feel like I can do that on this channel. So drop a like, subscribe if you guys are new. I'm Cryptix. Not enjoying a lot of other video games, except Warzone, obviously, because I said that like 100 times in this video. And signing off.